Many relatives think, oh well, mum's eyesight's pretty poor, but she's not a reader anymore, so we didn't think it's important to get prescription glasses. But it is important. Prescription glasses are really important both for short distance focus and long distance focus, because direction orientation is such a problem for dementia residents, and finding their room is a real issue. So if they haven't got the glasses to be able to focus and see, it becomes a real problem. Because if, for example, their bedroom is at the end of the corridor, if they haven't got that long distance vision clearly with glasses, they'll just see a blur, and that's disorientating. And then in terms of walking along, say, past 20 doors, trying to find your room and read your name all along the way, if you haven't got prescription glasses with that short distance focus, then you can't read the names clearly, and it's stressful. So that's why it's really important to be able to have the glasses, to be able to at least see the end of the distance in the corridor clearly and the names on the door. You know, walking to one's room is just such a difficult exercise for people with dementia, having direction orientation loss. They need all the help that they can get to be able to orientate and achieve this really difficult goal, actually. And there's other reasons that prescription glasses are important. You know, there's many activities that the dementia residents will be involved in the day with the diversional therapist or activity coordinator, which are activities such as quizzes and whiteboard work and word games and bingo, all of which require good sight to be able to see the figures, to be able to see the letters, to be able to read the words. And if the person hasn't got glasses, then they're just at a loss, aren't they? They can't contribute. It's like, you know, at school, when you're young, you've got good eyesight, but if you haven't got good eyesight, when you're at school, you'll get prescription glasses so that you can learn and read. So it's the same for dementia residents. And even for eating, you know, it's nice to be able to see your food properly when you're eating. Otherwise, the dementia residents are often saying, well, what is this? What am I eating? Often because they can't even see it. So these are many reasons as to why prescription glasses are important. And also the watch. It's important that they have a watch that they can wear on their wrist with regularly the battery being changed so that it's functional. Often dementia residents will come in with a working watch, and you know, the battery runs out, and then the relatives think, oh well, it's not important for them to know the time. But they like to know the time, and they need to know the time to be able to orientate. Dementia robs them of so much in terms of memory loss, present memory loss. You know, there's so much stress involved, dementia blanks, dementia spins, all of this is going on. And unless they can orientate themselves through another means, through time, through having a watch, through having prescription glasses, through being able to see into the distance and short focus, all of these are very important items for them to be able to have a chance of orientating in a dementia unit. And I mean, mostly they, you know, 12 o'clock being lunchtime. I mean, if they've got their watch, most of them know that 12 o'clock's lunchtime. So when people call out, what's the time? They can see, oh, it's nearly 12 o'clock, and they can inform the group, it's lunchtime. And so that's the big activity of the day, isn't midday anyway, lunch. So they like to know when lunch is. They like to know when dinner is. They like to eat, actually. Food becomes quite an important item, quite an interesting, entertaining activity when you get older and living in a dementia unit with lots of lovely, luxurious food there, all of which they probably haven't had for the last 20 years of their life, especially if they've been living alone and haven't been cooking much, as a lot of the elderly ladies arrive very slim and wasted often because they haven't been cooking. And then they come to a dementia unit, and then there's 3 magnificent meals a day. So they like to be able to see it when they're eating it. And these prescription glasses help with that. You know, so it's just getting into the minds, getting into the headspace of the dementia resident and what they have to cope with. I mean, yeah, it's really difficult, and it's so demanding having dementia. It's so difficult to orientate to having dementia. So as much as we can help with accessories like glasses and a watch to be able to help them orientate, the better. I mean, they want to orientate, they need to orientate. They say, look, we need to know the time, we need to know the news, we need to be able to see properly, we want to be able to read, we want to understand, we want to think. We need to think, I mean, all of this helps quality of life. I mean, you want to be able to think beyond the basics of standing up and sitting down and getting out of bed and into bed, all of which you need to be independent in a dementia unit. And by the way, that does take thinking. Some people think that people with dementia can't think, but we all have to be able to think, just to be able to function with the activities of daily living, like getting out of bed in the morning, standing up from the toilet chair, standing up from the actual dining chair, all takes cognitive thinking. But that's only basic daily living, isn't it? I mean, we want to have a quality of thinking that's of interest in our life. And these people can think. It's just they can't think through their memory tracks or their mind, because that's become dysfunctional with dementia. So they need to be able to think through a different track of understanding, that the intellect. They can think through the channel of understanding, which is the intellect. But it's difficult. It takes effort, it takes training, it takes reading, it takes being engaged, it takes activities, all of which these videos are going into. But along with that, having prescription glasses so they can read, and a watch so that they can read the time, all helps with them being able to orientate and engage and get context in the day. So just to really, think about these aspects for your parent, because if they can't engage in the activities, they can't socialize easily then, and they won't be able to make friends in the same way, and they won't be able to partake in the community. And so that will affect their quality of life. Whereas if they can see and engage and communicate about what they're seeing in the activities, it's like school. You make friends with kids in the classroom because you're engaged in the activities, the school activities or the school lessons. It's very much like that in a dementia unit. There's activities going on all day. That's the whole point of having an activity coordinator. Every hour there's a different activity, and you need to be able to see what the activity is to be able to engage in it and communicate and, be part of all the goings on. So this is why it's important to get these wonderful prescription glasses. Just put an elastic band on the back or a cord if they're likely to get taken off. They can just wear them around their neck. It's just best for them to have them all day. Just keep the glasses with them all day. That's just like the pair of shoes. Same pair of shoes all day, wherever they're going. Just keep the glasses with them all day because they're going to the toilet 4 or 5 times a day at least, and so they need to have the glasses to be able to read the name on the door, and to be able to see as they walk along the corridor. So it's just best to keep the glasses on them throughout the whole day. Maybe mention to the nurse that you'd like that. Make sure that they're clean. That's another important point. Either you clean them when you come, make sure of that, or try and make sure that the carer can regularly clean the glasses. Sometimes some dementia residents, if you leave some glass cleaner or a cloth in their walker carrier bag, they can manage to clean the glasses. So that's actually a really good idea as well. So thank you. I've written these 2 books, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise, both from a dementia unit. So everything about, watches and glasses and shoes and all these important accessories are outlined clearly in both books, systematically, in the epilogues at the back of both books, the second half of the books, whereas the first half is a novel about the residents and all that they have to face and cope with in a dementia unit, and the second half, the epilogues. So thank you for your looks and your likes, and please subscribe. I really appreciate.